Hey everybody, it's Doug here, Doug Mystic Guy on Board Game Geek. Doing part 2 of a two-parter, just playing through a game of Imperial Settlers. It's a learning session for us, for me, for you, anybody else who decides to watch. I don't believe I made any mistakes last turn. It's pretty simple to play, hard to grasp. There's a lot of actions, a lot of things that can go on during the turn. That take place during the game session. But as you can see so far, by turn 3 we've got a whopping 1 victory point by the Romans and none by the barbarians yet. So there's a lot of things that need to happen, and we are now going from round 3 to round 4. So we completed 3 rounds so far. Anyway, or wait, did we? Need to go back and look at that. I actually may have moved it last turn. I did, so we're actually on round 3. I take it back. Boom, round 3. Okay. And on round 3, we're going to do a bunch of stuff. Okay, we're starting round 3 with the lookout phase. So the first thing that happens is barbarians get a card from their faction deck to their hand, as do the Romans. And here's the Roman card. It is the Gladiator School. It's action. Allows them to spend a person to gain a raise token. Pretty good. And the barbarians got a pack of guys, I guess. Pack of people. Looks like they're carting around a girl. That says action, spend 1 to choose one enemy building and gain one of the goods shown in the raise fields. May be activated twice, so you can gain the resources from the enemy building without actually having to raise the building. Kind of neat. And then we go to basically the draft round of the lookout phase, where we pull out 3 common cards. Boom, de boom, and boom. And we're going to then draft, starting with the barbarians. Now, we got let's look at these. We got an acting troop. It says action, spend 1 person to choose one of your other actions. Discard goods spent to activate it. You may activate the building again. Yeah, don't like that one's not very useful to me. The watchtower is pretty nice. It basically, in production phase, gives you a building and you get a bonus of another building card. And then the lumberjack, if you're producing wood, an action, you can spend 1 person to gain 2 wood. That's pretty good. Barbarians like that. They're going to take that one because resources like that are useful. I think the Romans are going to take the watchtower, actually. And then the third card gets burnt. Now we pull out 3 more cards. Remember, it's always 1 per player plus 1. So there's always 1 more card than players. Now the Romans get to choose first. And they go, well, what do we got here? So the Imperial Messenger, it says action, spend 1 to choose one of your deals and immediately gain the goods provided. Well, that's pretty cool. It does require a person to do that. It's still better than trading in 2 for 1. The Tavern, action, discard a building from your hand to gain 2 victory points. Ooh, they're taking that. Okay, I don't think the barbarians will let that last long, but hey. And then the barbarians say, we'll take the Mason. Spend a person, gain 1 stone and 2 victory points. That's a good one too. And then this one goes away. That ends that phase. So we have finished the lookout phase. Now we're going to go to the barbarians' first production. First thing we do is we look at the production there, right? So we gain 2, 4, and 5 people, a raise token, and a defense token. Okay, now we go, what do we got in cards? Well, we got another raise token, yippee, that's nice, and another person produced from the sentry tower. Pretty sweet. And then we say we've got a deal too of getting an extra card. I think they're going to take a faction card. So what did they get? They get the chapel. It says action, spend 1 person to gain 1 victory point. Okay, that's not bad. Remember, you can't raise faction buildings, so that's useful to them. And that's going to be their production. Now let's go look at the Romans. Oh, Romans. Let's see. They're going to get 2 little people. They're going to get a single raise token, a single defense token, a stone, and a wood. Okay. Now we look at their other production. So first we look at the cards. So they're going to get a second raise token. Man, the barbarians want to get rid of that one. And a stone. Okay. Boom. Now the barbarians do get to go first. By the way, the stone was for their deal that they have. So, the barbarians, before the Romans can even put down a defense token, are going to raise the armory. because they don't want the Romans get to keep those raise tokens. They can stockpile and just wipe us out. So they're going to spend their 2 raise tokens immediately, and they're going to take out the Romans' armory, which is going to provide the barbarians with a victory point, putting them up to 1, woohoo, and a stone, which is useful. Then this card will get flipped down on the Romans area, and the Romans will gain a wood for it. So it does help you a little bit to get something raised, even though it helps obviously the attacker more. And that is going to be the first action of the barbarians. Now they say, well, just to play it safe, we are going to defend our guys here. The barbarians, he knows that the Romans currently only have 2 raise tokens, so they can't now raise that settler unless they can gain some more raise tokens. So the Romans don't think that is a complete loss, because they can build now one of their faction buildings that require building. That one's destroyed, so there's no sense in not doing that. And I think what they're going to do, because it'll pay them as they pay victory points as they go, is they're going to build the administrator's building. So that is a feature. So it's the first feature card built. It's going to go right here, and it requires 2 stone, boom, which they have, and it requires the use of a building. So that foundation is now used, and they have the administrative office. Now, what it does is, now every time that we build a faction card for the Romans, they're going to get a gold or a victory point it's their choice. It's a neat feature. So the barbarians, what are they going to do? They could spend something here to get to raise one of their own common cards, but they don't want to because they want the settlers. They're actually going to probably use the settlers very soon, but they only have 1 stone, so they're going to, right now, they're going to exchange 2 people for wood, and then next turn they'll try and do something cool. Yeah, probably one of their faction buildings. Anyway, that's what they did for their action. Let's go back to the Romans. So the Romans, they get to build. They can build a lot of stuff, but they need resources for it too, and they really don't have any buildings they can burn now that they've done that. So what are they going to build? Well, they have 2 wood, so I think they're just immediately going to build the watchtower. Now, since it has a building bonus of a card, so I think they're going to take a faction card for that, and then they also get the production immediately. It did cost 2 wood to build it. And so I think they're going to take a common card and see what they get. A coal mine. Spend 1 to gain 2 stone. That's pretty good. And they got a builder for build production 1. They're going to get this built. That's what they want to do next. But they need some stone to do that. So that's easy. We can get that. That's going to end their action. So the barbarians, they have a wood and a stone and some people, and they're going to build the armor. Actually, they don't even need to use the settlers yet. Oh wait, no, they're not. They're going to build a stone pit. So what they do is they need to burn a stone in a building, right? But they can use an action on the settlers to immediately build a faction, spend a wood to immediately build a faction card without needing the cost of another building. So that just costs them the wood and the stone, which allows them to then build this production card right there. That is the stone pit, and it's going to produce 1 raise token and 1 stone each turn for them. That's good. And that's going to end their action. Oh, Romans. Well, they have quite a few options, but they really want to get this faction card builder put out. It's a good production card. So what they need is they need a stone, and they also need to burn a building for it, which is bad. But they don't have a stone currently, but they can get one easily enough by doing this. They're going to spend 1 there to gain a stone instead of 2. It's better than 2 for 1 deal, so they gain a stone, but they burned a person to do it. And again, if they build a faction card, they get bonuses. Now this one, they got 2 cards from that, but I think they're going to have to use that to build the next building. Anyway, let's see what they do with their next play. Now they don't have any reason to put defense tokens out because the barbarians don't have any more raise tokens to spend. So you know what? I forgot something on their turn. They actually, when you build a building like that, it happens immediately. So they got a stone. They got those stone and a single raise token. So if they wanted to build something, what could they build? They don't have any wood. They do want to get the armory built, even though it's very highly likely the Romans will destroy it. They can also build a lumberjack, which gives them an action, but takes 2 wood. So how would they get wood? They can't raise anything. They could raise one of their own cards, one of their own common cards. But what do they raise? Therein lies the question. Well, they have a stone. So I think they're going to spend 2 people. Boom. Okay. And they're going to get a wood for their efforts. They need a stone and a wood to build the armory. And then I think for the last turn they're probably going to do this. No, they're not. No need. But anyway, that's going to be their action for this turn. Now let's go back to the Romans. The Romans. So this turn they got what they need, I think, to build. This. They're going to build the builder. It's a production building. So they're going to put that there. It requires a stone. Whoop. And unfortunately, it requires a building. So they're going to burn. They're going to level the watchtower to do that. Okay. But that gives them an immediate production of a wood and a stone. And this is a building that can't be raised, so that's pretty nice. And because of this, they get to choose between a gold and a victory point. A gold piece is a wild. It could be used as any resource. But they're going to take the victory point this turn. Got to get closer to winning. So they're at 2 victory points now. And they're starting to build a pretty decent engine that's going to be able to do some things for them. The barbarians like that engine, but they have enough resources to build their next item. But the Romans will immediately be able to raise it, so I don't know if, now I'm thinking they may not want to do that. Because they already used their defense. But they can't do anything else. They can't do this. Well, we do have a wood to spend. We could build the pack. Not very useful. Lumberjack's more useful, but we need another wood. Well, okay, so let's do this. We're going to spend these 2 guys. That's their last 2 guys. We're going to gain another wood. That's going to be their action. The Romans are waiting, laying in wait for them to build the armor so they can destroy it and raze it to the ground. However, they're not going to do that. Not this turn. They, I think, are going to build the coal mine as an action. They're building up quite a few actions. I'm going to move the box there. So we're getting some actions built out. And again, it's another common card, so it allows them to spend a person to gain 2 stone as opposed to 1. So that's better than their card. Then they could raise the above ground mine. But they're going to have to defend the heck out of this. It's pretty useful. They could also, well, they don't want to burn. They could do this too. They could do the tavern, another common card. It says discard 1 from your hand to gain 2. Wow, that's pretty good too. And there's a building bonus of a card. Okay, I think though that production this turn is going to be key. So they're going to do this. They're going to build that, the coal mine, and it's going to cost them their wood and their stone, and they're going to put the defense token on there just in case. Now the barbarians only have 1 raise token right now, but the Romans don't know what they're capable of, so it's better to protect it. And they were wise to do so, because the barbarians are going to build this, the armory. So they build the armory. It costs them a wood and a stone. Now they don't think they're going to get to keep this long, because they're pretty sure that the Romans are going to raise it when they get the chance, probably before the end of this session. But it immediately produces another raise token for them. So then the barbarian starts threatening him. Hey, you raised my armory, I'm going to raise one of your buildings, I promise you. So the Romans saying, well, if you raise one of my buildings, well, anyway, it goes back and forth, right? And that was the action that they did for the turn. They built the armory. I think the Romans are going to call their bluff and just destroy the armory now, since they can. They don't have any other resources to build anything. Well, they could build, what can they do with 2 stone? Can they do anything with 2 stone? Not just 2 stone by itself. So they really can't do anything with 2 stone by itself. So I think what they're going to do then is, yeah, they're going to raise the armory. Boom. Why not? Boom, they're going to use their 2 tokens, and they're going to raise the barbarians' armory immediately, which stops that production and gives them the Romans a victory point and a stone. So the Romans get this, and their victory point track goes up to 3. And the barbarians get a wood for the raised locations. They have 2 wood. They might still be able to do something. Let's go see. Okay, well, let's see. What can they do with well, there we go. They can build this with 2 wood. It is a common card. Or they can, you know what, they can build a chapel. Man, well, they go, ha ha. Romans, you've made a grave mistake. We get to build our chapel. Yeah. Okay, so they build that. Cost them 2 wood and the raised building to do that with, and they do it. So now they have their chapel built as well. It is a production or an action space that allows them to spend a person to gain a victory point, and it can be done twice a turn. That's pretty good. So now we're going to go back to the Romans. The Romans have a stone and a person. There's really not a lot they can do with that. But they can, because you know what they're thinking they need. Yeah, I don't know. Could use some people. They could use some food, because they do need food for their confectionery to gain victory points. Yeah. So, but the stone's not helping them. What they can do is they can't get a food this turn. They really can't do anything. I think they're done. They can't raise a building because they did it, and so they say we're going to pass. We're going to say I warned you not to destroy our building, but you did it anyway. So we're going to get you. Yeah. They're going to raise a building of the barbarians just to be vindictive and mean and nasty. So they spend their 2, and I got to think about what they're going to raise of the barbarians' common buildings. Probably whatever they raise, they're going to lose the resources this turn unless they spend them. So I think they're going to raise the confectioner and gain a gold and a food. So that gets raised. It goes upside down on the Romans board. They get a gold and a food on their board. Boom, and the Romans gain a wood for that. But the Romans passed, so they cannot go, oh, you know what? Now I can take another action. No, that's too bad. You passed. You didn't do anything. So the Romans go, they say, well, we're still passed. And the barbarians say, well, that means I get to do something. Do they get to do something? Because this pack, it's not really that good of an ability. So they're going to spend their food as a food and make a deal to produce another raise token. That's pretty sweet. And they're starting to get low on cards. They only have 3 cards left, and they're all common cards. So that is, of course, they're going to gain a card from their production phase next turn in round 4. And so then they go back to the Romans. Romans have passed. They come back to them and say, well, we got 1 gold. Is there anything we can do with that 1 gold? Absolutely not. So it's just going to get lost, unfortunately. But they're going to pass 2, and that's going to end the round. The barbarians do lose their gold. It goes back in their pool. The Romans lose the 1 person, the wood and the stone that they had in surplus, unfortunately. But that's going to be the cleanup round. Now we look at here, and we move this marker up to here. So we're round 4, and then the turn marker goes back to the Romans. Cards are good. So the Romans get their new faction card. It is another administrator's building. That's pretty good. And then the barbarians get their faction card. They get a mission. It says spend 1 person to draw a card. Draw 2 cards. Keep and discard the other one. Okay, not bad. And then we go to our draft. Now remember, the Romans get to pick first this time, so we got a marketplace, a goldsmith, all yellows, huh? And well, I know what the Romans are taking. They take a town. It produces 2 people. They don't have enough people. So they're going to take that into their hand, and then the barbarians go, gold workshop, not too good for us. They're going to take the marketplace. It's not that great of a card for them, but it's the best one that was out there. Then we lay out 3 more cards, and the barbarians get to pick first this time. So a village. Okay, these didn't get... I did shuffle these, but these got all stuck together. So let me do this. I'm just going to insert... I'll leave 1... Well, let's just say odds are 2 villages could have come out at the same time. And then we'll shuffle these up a little bit more. And we'll draw 1 more. Okay. Just want to keep it interesting. Okay, and a watchtower. So now the barbarians get to go first. The watchtowers, this is way more interesting to them, because if they build this, they get more people. And people are good. So now the Romans, on the other hand, they kind of like this watchtower. It gives them cards. So they're going to take that. They already have a village to build, and well, they could... Actually, I think they're going to stick with the plan, and they're going to build it. They're going to take the village and the town for their hand and build those out. and then try and protect them, of course. Okay, now we're going to go into the production phase for the turn. And we're going to start with the Romans. Romans have quite a bit to produce this turn, so we're going to start with the stuff on their main production. It's 2 people, a raise token, a defense token, a wood, and a stone. Okay, now we look at their other stuff. First cards. The builder produces another wood and another stone. That's great. And their faction card, their deal, they get another stone. So that's their production for this turn. Not too bad. Now we're going to go over to the barbarians. Barbarians are turning up the heat with the raise tokens here. But anyway, they're going to get their 5 people for their main production. You always look at that first to make sure you did it, so you don't miss anything. A raise token and a defense token. Now we look at their buildings. So the first one is we produce a raise token and another person out of the sentry tower. And then over here we produce a raise token. My good lord, the Romans are starting to be a little nervous about that. And a stone. And being a faction card, it cannot be destroyed. Now we look at the top here. They get another card. They're going to take one of their faction cards from here, and then they get another raise token from the deals they've made. 4 raise tokens this turn. They can wreak havoc on the Romans. Of course, it is now the Romans' first action. And the first thing they're going to do is defend their... I don't know what they want to defend first. I guess they're going to wait on that because... Well, they're going to see what the barbarians do. They could afford to lose some of these things down here. They're going to see what they can build first, and hopefully a faction-related building. They could build the gardens. If I build more red buildings, it gives us a bonus. The spies. Spend 1 to take 1 enemy deal and add it to your own deals. Oh gosh, we got to build that somehow. Well, we got to. You know what? They have a card that was sacked, raised last turn. So they say, okay, we're going to build spies. And it's going to take a wood and a stone first, and then the raised building that they had will go away. So that allowed them to build that. They couldn't activate it, and it cannot be raised because it is a Roman building. So now we're going to go over to the barbarians. Too bad you can't lay down defense tokens on your deals. They're not as safe, I guess, huh? Anyway, we don't have a lot of resources again, so we need resources to start off with. We need to produce, and you know, the village is pretty good, and it's also a tasty target, but we don't have any wood, and we need a wood. Wood. We got 2 different types of villages here. Oh, you know, this is a barbarian village. That's a much better way to go. So they're going to burn 2 people. Man, they got to do this to gain a victory point. They got to do that every turn. Okay, they're going to burn 2 people to get a wood. Or they could have. Oh, the heck with that. They're not going to do that. That's crazy. Give me back my 2 people. They're going to attack the Romans. They're going to raise a Roman building. Now, which one are they going to raise? Well, they're going to raise the New Forest because it gives them 2 wood, and all they had to do is spend their 2 tokens. So they're going to raise that. Gives them 2 wood. Barbarians raise it for 2 wood resources, and the Romans get a wood resource for having the building raised on them. Pretty good way to go there. Okay, and that's going to be their action. The Romans are mad. You know what? When I placed that is a Roman building, so this feature gave them a victory point or gold. They took the victory point. So they're at 4 now. They have a wood and stone and a raised building. So what are they going to build? Well, let's build a town. Now, they're going to build a town. So they place that up there, cost them a wood and a stone. Boom. They know it's going to get raised, but it does immediately produce for them 2 people. And that's their action. You know what? They're going to defend the town. Oh, yeah, that's it. So that's their action for this turn. So the barbarians. Let's see, what are they going to do? Crazy barbarians. They, well, so, yeah, we got 2 wood now, so we can build the village, and they like having people, so they're going to build that. It's going to cost them 1 of the 2 wood and it's going to immediately supply them with 2 people as well. And I think, though, that they're going to defend their... the reason being is because the settlers have that ability that keeps them from... They can spend a wood instead of a building, which is better for them at this point. And we got to build the mission, which is one of their faction cards. So that's what they did. They built the village. Now we're going to go back to the Romans. They're a tad bit worried because the barbarians already raised one of their buildings, and they can still raise another at this point. So I think that what they're going to do, what the Romans are going to do, is they're going to build, no, it's stone. So the wood resource that they had available to them to build from got lost. So I think what they're going to do, yeah, they could build a gladiator school. Okay, yeah, so they're going to build the gladiator school. It's an action, so it goes here, down there. Costs them a stone and of course the raised building that they had, and we get to build it. Now it's an action, so it doesn't produce anything, but there it goes. Now, am I doing that right? I think it's only production buildings that give you stuff immediately. Yeah, it's only a building location that produces immediately. You can't automatically spend a person to activate one of those things. But speaking of that, the barbarians are going to raise another Roman building because that's what barbarians do. So what are they going to raise? They only have a choice of 2. We'll they have a choice of 3. Now they only had 2, so they can't raise the town. The town was defended. So they can raise the above ground mine and the coal mine. I think they're going to do the above ground mine and get 2 stone out of it. So they raise the above ground mine, gives the barbarians 2 stone, and it gives the Romans wood. And that's the barbarians' next action. So let's go back to the Romans. Guys, this game, once you get into this fifth or 6th turn, there's a lot going on. I mean, this 4th or 5th turn. So there's quite a bit we can do. I mean, we got a lot of things we can do. I think that they're going to start threatening the barbarians too. They're going to spend, God, it's just one of these guys too to take an enemy deal. That is so powerful. So they're going to spend a person. The Romans are going to spend 1 person, and they're going to take the deal from the barbarians of that and put it as their own. So now they're going to get another raise token. It's going to make them more able to fight off or fight against the barbarians better. And in addition to that, they gain an additional victory point. That's pretty good. So they activated the... I'm going to put the meeple on the spies just to note that. Okay, and that's their turn. Now the barbarians are really mad. Well, that and the Romans are winning, so the barbarians are doubly mad. But what can they do to stop them? They can do some stuff down here, but I don't know what that's going to do for them. You know, they can spend a person to raise one of their common cards and get some stuff. And they have a lot of people to spend. But let's look at what they can build. They haven't used their settlers yet, and they have a piece of wood. So let's see if they can build something really good. They really don't have. Man, they're just all common cards at this point. Their 1 faction card requires 2 wood to build and a building. It's this mission, but allows them to draw cards. Maybe that's what we got to work towards here. So they're going to spend 2 people. Boom, 2 people. Gain another wood. Now they still need another wood because they don't want to burn a building. So they're going to have to get 1 more wood before they can build this. But that's going to end their action. The Romans do have stuff they can do. You know, they really do. There's, you know, I think they're gonna they're gonna spend another wood to build another village. That's going to give them 2 more people immediately. 1 for the building bonus and 1 for the production, and that's going to be their action. The Romans are upset that the barbarians are upset that the Roman populace is growing and their towns and villages sprouting up everywhere. Okay, so what are we going to do next with them? Remember, we need 1 more piece of wood. We still have a lot of people, so they're going to sacrifice 2 more people for a 3rd wood, and that's going to be their turn. Well, okay, so the Romans' next thing to do is to spend, before it gets raised by the barbarians again, they're going to spend a person and gain 2 stone from their coal mine. So they get that. I don't know what we're going to do with that yet. They can still get some other stuff. So there's things they can do. Like if we can get a piece of wood, we can build the Hanseatic League and get that out. Anyway, we're going to go over to now the barbarians again. Barbarians are saying our plan is complete. It is coming together. So they activate the action of the settlers. Spend a wood on the settlers, and then they do this, which is an action, another faction. We're going to move the board over a little bit so they can do this right. Whoop. Okay. So the next thing they have to do is spend 2 wood, so 2 more wood go into the pile, and they get to build that as an action. That's going to be their turn. So now they have a mission, a chapel, and the rabble. Okay, well, it's getting the. Let's see what they can do with the 2 stone. They have 2 stone and a wood, so yeah, they can build a Hanseatic League. They're going to build this. It is an action, so it's going to go here, across on their board, and that is going to cost them a wood and a stone. And basically, they can spend a person and discard one of their deals to gain a victory point. I don't know if that's a good thing for them or not, because they want the raise tokens. Okay, so now what can these barbarian guys do? Well, they can activate their mission. So they're going to do, well, the first thing they're going to do, just because they want to make sure it gets done, is they're going to activate the chapel. The chapel gives them a victory point. Boom, there are 2. The Romans are at 5 right now, but buildings count. We're going to add up, there's little stars here, add up the victory points, 1 for each common building and 2 for each faction building. So that's going to be their action. Let's go back to the Romans. Well, the Romans can spend stuff too. So they're going to spend a person on their gladiator school, which gives them another raise token. Now they can raise the barbarian village that's spread up near their borders. And they probably will. So even though it doesn't give them any additional resources, they just waste it. But they can keep those. They might keep them for next turn, because then they can finally get rid of the settlers. That might be more beneficial to them. But that's going to be their action for this turn. And the action for this turn for the barbarians is going to be to do this. They're going to spend that. They're going to get to draw a card, draw 2 cards, keep 1, discard the other. So let's draw 2 common cards, because they need some cards they're going to need to burn. We've got a sawmill and a watchtower. They're going to keep the watchtower. So that goes in their hand, and then this one gets discarded. Okay, now we're going to go back to the Romans. Well, the Romans still got things they can do. They do. Or do they? You know, did I? Yeah, I did. Okay. So we got a stone, we got some raise tokens, we got some people. Well, we could do the Hanseatic League. Spend 1 person and discard 1 of your deals. Oh, yeah, they want to do that this turn. They might do that in the last round. But I think what they'll do now, well, yeah, let's do this. So they're going to spend 2 people, gain a food. Okay, back to the barbarians. The barbarians say, we're going to spend our 2 stone, and we're going to build the mason, which says spend a person and gain a stone and 2 victory, and gain 1 stone. Oh yeah, spend one person and 1 stone to gain 2 victory points. That's good, and that's going to. And there's now the Romans say, you just gave us a juicy tidbit, and the barbarians are going, darn it, you're going to raise that, aren't you? But the barbarians might hold out, or the Romans might hold out, because they really want to raise that settlers. So it's been paying off for the barbarians too much. Basically, that settlers has allowed the barbarians to build 3 buildings for the price, 4 buildings. I think 3 out of the 4 buildings for just the price of an extra wood. That's pretty good. But so the Romans say, well, we're not going to raise that this turn. The barbarians are freaking out. Why not? Why aren't you going to raise that? What's the matter with you? Okay, so but what the Romans are going to do is they're going to spend their food. Whoop, and they're going to create another deal. This one. It's going to give them an extra card. And then they can also use their Hanseatic League on it in the last turn. So that's going to end their action. Now we go back to the barbarian. Well, the barbarians are pretty happy with what they've got here, but they are going to spend a person and a stone on the action of the mason here, which will give them 2 victory points. So they're now 1 behind the Romans. Now, the Romans, however, I think are going to have to pass. I don't think there's anything. Well, no, they can still do something. yeah, let's go back to them. I mean, getting the extra card next turn from the deal they just made would be good, but he's looking at this going, you know, if I spend one person and I get rid of this one I just did here, I can gain 2 more victory points. And so I'm going to do that. And they do. Okay, so they're at 7 now. And that is their action. Barbarians are in the race, so they're going to spend, remember this can be activated twice, they're going to spend another person on it, and they're going to gain another victory point, putting them up to 5. They're only 2 behind at this point still. But that then it goes back to the Romans. The Romans say we pass. Barbarians say they pass. And that ends the round. So we're going to do the cleanup phase, so they lose all the resources that they didn't spend, with the exception of people for them, but they did spend them all. And raise tokens for the Romans. The Romans do actually hold over 2 raise tokens on their board for next turn. Then we go to let's go to the middle of the board.